welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant.
Did you call yourself David Pisani?
Yes. No, I did not.
Oh, sounded to me like you did. Okay. I'm hearing
Barry's video is very laggy.
Yes. I wasn't going to say that, but yes, he
maybe that's why maybe that's why I thought I heard
you froze on me for a moment, and it was just like, but you were still talking, but your video lagged.
Oh, that's weird.
So,
okay,
now it's better. Anyway, a week from when you're listening to this, if you're listening to us when it gets released, we're going to be at Rhode Island Comic Con, except for Barry, but the rest of us are. Barry would be there with us, one way or another.
One way or another, we'll get him.
I'll certainly be there in spirit, and hopefully I'll be there virtually in some way, shape, or form. But I'm so bummed that I'm not going to be there in physical form.
Yeah. We'll talk a little more about that later. But if you're going, let us know, because we're going.
Yeah.
We'll be there, as always. And 10th year or something, I don't even know. For the 11th year, the 10th year, 9th year, I don't know which it is. It's one of those. But
I think for our show, it's 10.
It's whatever. It's one from whatever it is. So we are one less than the show.
Yeah, I think we missed the first year, but we'll get more into that. And I don't know what else. Something else exciting. What did we do last week? We did we talk to Greg Jean auction last week?
Yeah, we did. We did the recap.
That therapy, geez, there's being talked about everywhere. It was crazy. Still crazy.
Yeah, so we recapped that last week, and while we were recapping it, the trading card auction was going on while we were doing the show, and I got my trading card in the mail today. So this is sort of
you got a smoking deal on that, Barry.
Well, it's funny. I don't know if we talked about it on the show. I can't remember, but I'm gladly going to talk about it now. So I bought a card, which I didn't even realize was a playing card. I thought it was a trading card, like a proper trading card. But it's a 6 of diamonds out of a deck of cards from Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. It's an image of Scotty in his radiation suit, and it's signed by James Doohan. And it came Beckett authenticated and certified and whatever. And the irony is, I was bidding on it because it was really not going for a lot of money, and I won it at $24. The hammer price, I've got the invoice here in front of me. The hammer price was $24. There was a buyer's premium of $49 on top of my $24 bid. And then, so that's a total of $73, but don't forget your taxes, the services, and handling fees. It came to $93.93.
Of course, yeah.
A $24 bid cost me.
It's still worth. It's worth
$100.
But
I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. I'm not complaining. I would have gladly paid $100 for a real Scotty autograph. I don't have a James Doohan, so I'm happy with it. But it's just ironic.
But that wasn't actually Greg Jean's, so
and it was not part of Greg Jean's collection, which I also.
I was going to say, did he have all this stuff graded? It doesn't sound like him.
No.
So
some of his stuff was graded, some of it wasn't.
Yeah.
But it was funny because I bid on it early in the day, not realizing at that point in time that not everything in that auction was from Greg Jean. Again, $24 for a Scotty autograph. I thought I was getting a steal. We figured out as the afternoon went on, and I was texting with Daryl beforehand. I'm like, there's a $50 minimum buyer's premium on anything in that auction. So if you bought something for $3, it was $53.
That's a little crazy.
It's a little crazy, but when you think about it, how much effort goes into posting that item, whether it sells for $24 or not? Okay, I mean they probably put $50 of work into the description. And
no, you're absolutely right. And they paid a photographer to take pictures.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that is probably that's probably
and the
a loss
auctioneer
for them.
and the thing.
Yeah. Well, this auction was an automated one. They didn't have a live auction.
It's not. There wasn't.
But even still, okay. I'm not knocking Heritage for this. Like, I get it. I understand what it takes to put an auction together and to do it right. So again, $100 for a Scotty autograph.
You got to figure that into your overall thing.
I'm happy.
Now, how did it get shipped to you? Like, via what service?
Oh my gosh! You know what? That I don't know, but I'd have to go back and look at the box. But
I'm just curious because I haven't gotten any.
It was
I
so
paid-
well
A guy
packed.
in the street in a trench coat handed it to you. I mean, was it?
It was
how do you
so
not
well
know?
packed. I mean, this
okay.
thing was like in 7 layers of bubble wrap in a box with packing peanuts that was 5 times the size of it. I mean, it was well packed. I'll give them that.
I'm just curious where my stuff is.
Yeah, I want to see
Oh,
your
Todd,
stuff
remind
too.
me after the show. I got to tell you something about our uniforms.
Okay.
Nothing. Something good.
Okay. Good.
Anyway, so there you go. Did we talk about? I know that we're into random of random. Did we? Okay. Did we talk about? Did we know that Dave at the time? Dave won. Not me, Dave. Dave. What's his face? Mandel won the necklaces. Did we talk about that
No, we
on the
did not.
show
We
last
did not
week?
know that when we did the show.
We did not, because
We
he
found that
then
out a few
released
days
a
later,
podcast about. You should go listen. Stuff Dreams Are Made of podcast, not a sponsor, but their podcast is great. But you get into the whole him winning. He spent like $4 million on that auction, but he and several friends got together and bought the necklaces, so we didn't have a chance. This
Did
guy
exactly
thought
what we were trying to do, only they beat us.
But I want to, and we'll talk to him at some point, because actually I had DM'd him and he answered me about it. But I want to see. Well, I would try and get him on the show at some point. But I'm curious what their maximum was, because he's like,
I guarantee you, it's more than our maximum.
it's way more than our maximum, because he was like, if I could have got a triple for more than for less than $10,000, I'd be fine. Like. Triples are not $10,000 even from TOS. I'm sorry, but
Walking
that was
triples
his
are worth
number.
more, but
Okay, still
Don't care for walking.
doesn't matter. The triples are going for $3,000 to $6,000 for the walking, maybe.
yeah, but you got
if
to factor in the Greg Jean tax.
If somebody wants a TOS triple, I'm still not selling it for $10,000. I'm keeping it, but I would make quite a healthy profit if I sold my triple for $10,000.
Yeah, well, yours also came from David Gerald's collection, which also
That's right.
has a premium. Maybe not the Greg Jean tax, but it comes with a premium.
Not at all, but at least make me an offer so I can tell my wife, guess what? This triple's worth $7,000. Anyway.
Well, Dave and I
We'll
saw
be
each
talking-
other over the weekend, and we did a deep dive into the pictures of the other lot that you won. And we'll talk about that, I guess, after you get it. But there's some amazing stuff.
There's some cool stuff in
Yeah.
there. And I'll say this. I have bought stuff in auctions, not really knowing what I was getting myself into. Like a
Stargate
40
console.
by 40 Stargate console.
Yeah.
And that I sold at a loss. But this particular one, I examined those pictures very clearly before I bid on it. So, and that's the thing. I think if you were looking on the website or looking in or looking at the download of the catalog for anything, because there was a lot of stuff
yeah.
I think people were buying, not realizing there was either other stuff with it, because the catalog or the PDF of the catalog, was maybe a picture or two for
doesn't tell you the whole
smaller
story.
stuff.
Yeah.
There's 15 pictures to the lot I won, and there's a ton of cool stuff in there. So, anyway, when we get into it,
Which
we'll
is
see
great, because that means that there's an opportunity for some of us to
For some of us to
some
take
of the cast
There
offs.
is an opportunity at a. Not only is there a Greg Jean, but there's a Dave Pisani premium.
That's right,
on
yes.
all of this stuff.
Yep.
But let's go some random. Who's got random? Todd, what do you got?
Okay, so there is. I had actually saved this last week, but Disney apparently is pursuing a live action Gargoyles series adaptation. Now, Gargoyles was a '90s cartoon, which I love. It's probably my second favorite '90s cartoon, second or third, and I don't want to see this. I totally don't care about this whatsoever. If they did a revival, I wouldn't mind seeing it animated. This is, yeah. I'm terrified.
Live action they're doing? Is that what you said?
Live action. I am terrified.
I don't know anything
by
about
what
the
they're gonna do.
cartoon.
I mean, these characters work. You know, there's one on the shelf above behind me. You can see between the helmets. Okay, these are slightly larger than human scale gargoyles with wings. I'm really dubious about how they would pull this off, and it'd be obviously mostly CGI. But
Yeah.
God, we don't need this, people. Do something else. This was one of the really cool things about this series, and I don't imagine either of you guys have much familiarization with it, but it had the entire Next Generation cast other than Patrick Stewart. But all the reoccurring voices were Next Generation cast members. So it's just like I said, very, very cool and much beloved. And leave it alone. Just back away slowly. So Disney, please don't screw this up. So, Dave,
Harry? Oh, Dave?
Dave.
I have my random from last week was very random. First of all, I didn't know Chuck Norris was still doing movies.
He is.
The thing is, does he know? Yeah.
He and Vanilla Ice are in a movie, or going to do a movie about zombies on an airplane.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Like, I thought that was very random.
Is this one of those, like, shot on an iPhone kind of movies, or is this like a real movie?
But he's well into, isn't he a little out of it? I think he's well into his 80s.
I mean, if he's just acting, it's fine. If he's doing action, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. And Vanilla Ice, that's what your comeback is? That's what your
I thought Vanilla Ice was doing, like, home improvement shows on HGTV or something.
I was going to say, I don't know if you're Vanilla Ice, if you know that you need to make a comeback. I think he maybe, in his mind, never really left.
Don't call it a comeback.
Anyway.
I've been here for you. Oh, wait, that's LL.
That's right.
That's not.
That's right.
Oh, and then the other sad news. I know we usually hold this kind of stuff for the end, but Mission Impossible 8 is getting pushed back.
Yes. Yeah.
Not surprising.
What's with that? I mean, the 4 people that saw Mission Impossible 7 are going to be totally crushed.
Well, I think part of it has to do with an actor strike.
Yeah. They're talking again this week, but it doesn't sound like they're close. So there's a lot of stuff getting pushed. Deadpool pushed back. I know I read...
It's just... I guess they've just figured out it's hard to make shit without writers or actors. It's just... Who
I think they want to, but no one's letting them get away with it. They want to make
I guess that's the whole point, yeah.
I guess ironically, though, like they could have just said that they were pushing back Daredevil, but no, they like filmed half of it and are throwing it away and starting over.
That sounds... Well, maybe it was really bad. I don't know.
And then Vincent D'Onofrio was out there saying, "We want it to be as good as it can be." It's like, dude, you filmed half of the season. Like, at what point did everybody not know it was bad?
Maybe they'll edit around it. Who knows?
I don't know. They said they're retooling it. They're basically they shut down and
well, they've been shut down anyway. So
I guess but they've decided to scrap it and go a different direction. Is what they said in the articles.
That sounds very expensive.
Yeah,
well, maybe
I've read 4 articles on this now, and they all kind of root back to the same source, but everyone spins it in a different direction. I really have the feeling that they shut down production on this thing, and then they can't. They're going in a different. I think that's as much the issue as anything, that they've got to restart things, and they may have gone back and assessed where they're at and decided to change things around. But I don't know. I'm not tremendously worried about it. In one of these articles, they did say that it's far more episodic than any of the other things that they've done, and I'd love to see that. So.
I'm just wondering if they, the past couple of shows have not been great, have had bad fan reaction. Maybe we got to look closer at this. They did say they're looking to retool the whole Marvel structure, that, there's no showrunners and blah, blah, blah.
And everything they talk about Echo, every time it's basically to the point where someone says Echo and all the Marvel people look at their shoes. So, and that's supposed to be the springboard for this. So if they're radically making changes to that, maybe it's just going downstream.
Was Echo? I don't remember. Has Echo been shot already, or is that not even produced yet?
Oh, Echo.
I thought it was.
We should be
a
seeing
lot
it
of it
there.
was done.
That should be done.
That's
It's
the
supposed to
next
come out
thing
in
up
January.
in the Marvel TV shows, right? After Loki.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Who knows?
So on positive news, and again, I can't remember what we've talked about. So if this is a repeat, I apologize. But Star Trek Prodigy, Todd, has been picked up by Netflix.
Yes. Yep.
So season 1 is going to show up on Netflix later this year, and season 2 is going to be sometime in 2024.
So there's I find the whole we're not renewing this, and now we're going to scrub it free from our streaming service and salt the earth and make sure that we never mention this again thing. Really, really interesting. The kind of in the same way like Willow is gone. The first season of Willow has just vanished off Disney Plus.
And by the way, I did have last week, and I decided not to do it out of respect for Barry, but I thought it was funny that I'll say it now because I'm still a jerk.
Yeah.
Warwick Davis is embarrassed that they took the Willow series off.
The fact that
dude,
it's just like,
that's what you're embarrassed about?
He's embarrassed that they took it off. Not that it was as terrible as it was.
It was
but
a
that
terrible show.
That they've buried it is what he's embarrassed by.
I mean, is this...
They did you a favor.
Is this what you did? Did you finish Willow, Barry?
I did, because I pulled the Todd Pleasant and I needed to finish what I started.
Okay, good. No, that's good. So as long as you're not pulling Barry Kay and trying to convince us it's better than it was, we're good.
No, I've been honest with you the whole time. It was terrible.
I know that. That's what I'm saying. I'm giving you credit.
Did we watch any of it? I think I watched the first
season. As much as it pains me, because I wanted it to be good, but it was really, really, really bad.
Was it
especially with the amazing source material?
Was it a cliffhanger?
Oh yeah, of course it was.
Okay, that's why I think that's. And this may make some of them start to think.
I wouldn't call it a cliffhanger necessarily. It ended, and they opened the door for a season 2. So much so that it ended with like a book on a shelf, and the book next to it was like volume 2. Like they were implying.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if some of these streaming services that have not committed to doing multiple seasons of stuff looked at things without leaving them, leaving things hanging, you could let something stand on its own. But I think the problem is when all of a sudden, we're not doing a season 2. Like, I can't think what it is now. The Virtual World series.
Peripheral.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you do with that? If you're not making another season of that, it's not like it's something that stands on its own. It's very much like left like, what's going to happen now?
They'll bury it.
That is tough to have on. Yeah.
I mean, the problem is if they at least finish these stories, like let's just say there were 3 seasons of Peripheral, it could live on forever on a streaming service as just something that's there. But if you only make one season of it,
you give yourself a jumping off point for season 2, but you don't make it. You. Yeah, I don't know. I
include the story at the end of the season.
That's what I'm saying. You do a WandaVision thing instead of a Loki thing. Okay, you do it where it's self-contained. If it works, you can go back, do something else with the characters, whatever. But if you're building something with the intent of having follow-up seasons, I think they're really limiting their potential for this.
I don't know why they do it. Did they do it so that, or whoever's producing it, so like, hey, well, they got to give us another one because you left it hanging.
I'm wondering whether that's the idea behind it.
That practice will stop. But the other thing is that, and I know we've talked about it, but them pulling Peripheral or they get a tax break. That is what's messed up with the whole streaming thing. Actors and stuff, and I'm simplifying this, actors don't get paid the same residuals with streaming the way they do. Because something good on streaming, like, I don't know, what's a series that's on over and over again, The Boys or something, it's just they're not getting paid the way they would.
Right, yes. Yep.
Yet the other problem is there is built-in amortization not really the right word, but that the streaming companies can say, well, Willow would have, made us or cost us X over a 10-year lifespan, but since we're pulling it off the service, we deserve a tax break.
So, wait a minute, Dave. So you are criticizing this, but honestly, for years, the three of us have been buying things with money we didn't spend on other things and validating based on that, right? It's like, I could have bought this. Instead,
Collecting is different.
I'm spending this money on this collectible because I didn't buy this other thing.
Wait, you can't. You can't compare collector math with amortization of streaming residuals.
Imagine they're like,
you got me on that. Yeah, I just
we're taking a.
It just sounds like a very familiar rationalization.
Yeah.
Like, I could have spent this, but I saved this money by not buying it, so I'm going to spend that on this.
But to not go too deep into this, but like here's a great example: the show Suits is like the #1 series on Netflix.
It's the #1 show in the world.
Right. But it stopped airing like, 8 years ago or whatever it is?
Yeah.
But
you
those
don't
guys...
think that's got anything to do with the cast?
No. My point, though, is none of those actors are getting paid at all for this being the #1 streaming show in the world.
That's the thing. It's the #1 show on streaming. But that's the other thing. So, and Willow's the opposite. Willow, they're claiming... Well, we spent $100 million on Willow, and that $100 million was predicated on the fact that we would run it for 5 years.
Right.
And I'm simplifying this.
Yeah.
Since we're not going to run it for 5 years and we've scrapped it, we're taking a tax break on it. But we wouldn't have paid Warwick if it did run for 5 years. That's messed up.
Okay. Yeah.
And again, Bob Iger, if I've got this wrong, I know it's simplifying. Feel free to call me. Yeah, you've got my number.
I had never seen an episode of Suits up until recently.
Neither have I.
We just started watching it. It's actually a very enjoyable show.
What's it about? Lawyers or something?
It's about lawyers, but it's actually got
that
a good,
Matt Bomer guy in it.
It's got a good spin on it. Meghan Markle's in it. She was real cute.
Is that why? I honestly, that's what my first thought was. It's the Meghan Markle.
She's not
thing.
the lead. I mean, she's
but I'm
supporting
saying,
actress in it.
Otherwise,
why
did this thing? This was like a cable series, right? It wasn't even a streaming.
But I think it's a show that very few people watched when it was on.
Or something.
But it had like 8 seasons.
People don't watch. But I'm saying.
But it ran 8 seasons.
It's more than Meghan Markle. She's not. It's not like Taylor Swift is on it or something.
No, but it. So we're only in season 1. It's enjoyable. And it's fun, but I think so few people saw it that now there's a younger generation. None of them have ever seen it, and it's like the #1 show on
cult weird things.
It's the #1 show.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
It's bizarre.
We'll get back to random if we're still doing it. But you know who's awesome as Suits? Fanboy Collectibles, because we've been doing their commercials later when we get to talking too much, so we won't. But they're just back from New York Comic Con, so
and boy, have they got some stuff.
They got stuff. Hot Toys, Hawkeye, Kate Bishop in stock. I'm eyeballing that one. That looks good.
It does look good.
Diamond Select statues, everything from Jean-Claude Van Damme to Silver Surfer. Gentle Giant's got Star Wars and Marvel, but there's everything. Pops and Sideshow.
And I gotta say, I don't typically buy statues, but I will say, and this is something that's in stock right now, the Iron Studio Batman on the Bat Signal statue looks unbelievable. Awesome. It's so cool.
I was looking at that.
Yeah.
No. Yep. They got everything. So I know we keep saying it. There are less than 2 months before the holidays, people. So make your lists. Check it twice. Buy something for somebody else. Do all that stuff. Check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut. Check them out online, fanboycollectibles.com. Tell them the regular Joe saying it.
Yeah, do your Christmas shopping there this year. Get all your gifts for all your friends and family at Fanboy.
And us.
Yeah.
And us, too, yeah.
We'll take something.
We don't have a Patreon.
Troy has our addresses. All you got to do is call him up, and he'll just send us stuff.
Yeah, we don't have a Patreon, so if you want to, thank us for a job well done, call Fanboy.
Yeah, I like
a review on.
Look at us asking for handouts now.
Barry will show some skin.
Yeah, whatever it takes.
Or he won't show skin.
Dave has the OnlyFans. I have the Patreon.
That's right. Yep.
We should start an OnlyFans page that just does nothing but this podcast on OnlyFans. And we'll be like, what the hell? Maybe we get one person spending $30 a month.
Hey.
Speaking of OnlyFans, Jessica, she's not the last straw. But of our original Rhode Island Comic Con friends, I didn't think Jessica would be on there, but I think she's got an OnlyFans. I don't know what she does. Riddle does not.
No, because she has a real job.
Riddle's the real deal. So good for you, Ricky.
I did have another random, which is really...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I think more of a discussion topic than just a random. So, Matthew Vaughn recently said, he's a director.
He must have been on a podcast because there's like a dozen headlines.
He was on Happy, Sad,
Matthew
Confused
Vaughn.
podcast.
Oh, Jesus.
They were asking him if he would ever consider making a Star Wars movie. And he said, I'm not going to read exactly what he said. Basically what he said was, he's only interested in doing it, and nobody's asked him, right? But he would only be interested in doing it if they let him reboot Star Wars, and it could be a recast Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Chewbacca, Princess Leia, the original cast, completely recast and rebooted.
No one's letting you do that.
No one's
so.
letting you do that.
I don't think anybody's going to let him do that, but I guess my discussion is, I mean, I know how my initial reaction to that is very negative, but when you factor in the sequel trilogy and you see how poorly that really worked out, like, maybe there is no better story than telling stories with the original.
Okay, but they
main
I don't want to
characters.
see
if you look at The Force Awakens as a soft reboot, okay, which it really was, they could have done that well and gone forward from there. They basically retold the original story with different characters, left the original characters in the background. They could have moved forward from that and done that very, very well. We could be looking at the fifth movie right now. They screwed it up.
I don't agree with that, but
completely utterly screwed it up. Otherwise, you're wiping the slate clean, and then you've got an audience that, for starters, is already confused by the timeline of this stuff. That's now saying, oh, do I go back and watch this? Do I watch this? Do I watch whatever? I think it's all just got to sit, and it's time to come up with some new characters.
See, but I don't know if you can bring in just brand new characters and just start a completely new story in that universe. I just don't know that you can.
I think if they did it, like, let's see season 2 of Ahsoka, bring in Princess Leia and Luke Skywalker if they are recast, and feel it out, and maybe then it could. I mean, because the problem is if they reboot it, they're going to remake Star Wars with different people playing. They're so stupid. They're not going to be
sure
like.
If they would remake Star Wars, but I think what he's saying, if I'm reading it right, is not remake the movies, but tell new stories with those characters in that time period. There's so much that happened between Star Wars and Empire.
That's what he's saying, Barry. I think he's talking about basically rebooting. I read it too, and that's how I took it.
I wouldn't mind if we see them sporadically, and then maybe
show me.
I don't know.
Show me the adventures that happened between movies with those original characters. All the adventures
I could
that they
see
went
that.
on.
I would do Splinter of a Mind's Eye with freaking new people. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I say that new characters don't work, understanding full well that I love The Mandalorian and those are predominantly new characters. But even with that, they've brought in so much other stuff that was pre-existing material.
Whoever thought Mon Mothma was going to get this much exposure?
She's on how many series?
She's on. She's
but if you look at the one movie that we all universally say is the best of the Disney era, it's Rogue One, which took place in that original trilogy time period.
Well, technically,
I don't think
it's
at this
prequel.
point.
Yeah, but it was up until an hour before.
I know, but I'm saying it is a prequel to that original. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd have a problem if they recast Luke. I mean,
I
just
don't either. I don't either. I just don't want to see the original story again. I don't need to see. I don't need to see any more than I don't need to see.
No, I'm with you there. I don't want to see them
I don't need
redo
to
the
see
original
Waynes
movie.
die again. and I don't need to see Luke's aunt and uncle.
There's no point in redoing the original movies,
That's
right?
what I'm saying.
But
Yes.
if you're gonna tell, because they're great the way they are, to retell those stories doesn't make any sense. To tell new stories in that era with those characters,
And then that's the thing. Where do you put it? I guess you put it.
Those characters you could play with. You could absolutely play with.
Yeah.
And
so after Jedi and hopefully before Luke screws up.
After Jedi
Ben
is right
Solo.
in that time period where they are right now with the Mandalorian. I'm
That's
thinking.
what I'm saying.
I'm thinking more like after they blow up the Death Star. There's 2 years between that and
2 or 3 years
and
yeah.
Hoth. So show me how they got to Hoth.
I think you recast those characters, you do a whole lot better going post Jedi, because then you don't have to. Then it doesn't have to mesh back. You don't have.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Except that they're already telling that story now. So then tell that story with recast. See, here's another.
I agree. I think the it's C-3PO. And he's going to speak on behalf of Leia. It's like, because they can't put Leia up on a screen. They can't have a hologram of her. They can't do whatever. They honestly, stupidly said they would never recast her. Okay?
But if you think about what's going on right now with the end of this first season of Ahsoka, they're now back in the Prime Universe. You can't tell the story that I think they want to tell about some big bad thing that's about to happen.
That's what we said.
Without
Han,
Princess Leia and Luke.
Yeah, but not the 3 best ones.
But it's Star Wars. This is not some
agree.
Other space story. This is Star Wars.
They have boxed themselves into a corner with this without. And I'll tell you something. I don't think Mark Hamill would have a problem at all with somebody.
Mark Hamill has said himself,
that's what I'm saying.
That's what leads me to believe. Did he say that, and they're like, okay, fine, or did they like, Mark, if you really feel like that, put it out there and let's see what the fan reaction is.
Because what they did with the deep fake stuff worked okay for a cameo. Would not work okay if he was an ongoing main character in the show.
There was a lot of him in that Boba Fett episode. There was a lot more than I ever expected we'd see.
And it was good, but it's not good enough.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying I don't want to see a series of that.
Right.
No. I'm all for it. I wouldn't mind seeing it. Even if you bring Ahsoka back for season 2, Thrawn's the big bad, and Luke's there too.
See, and I think that they're building towards a
Sebastian Stan,
but
as Luke.
They're building towards a movie. That's the thing, right? There's going to be season 2 of Ahsoka. There's going to be a season 4 of Mandalorian. There's going to be a season of Skeleton Crew. And then there's going to be a Dave Filoni movie. And like the stakes have to get raised to the point that brings it to a theatrical level story. It can't just be...
Do you think
every time they say
Dave will do it?
I don't believe a word they say. I really don't. I think they just keep throwing that out there like chum and just seeing what it's gonna attract.
Well, I'm just
going. Do you think Dave Filoni would? Well, he did already, I guess. No, he didn't. Would have a movie or a show with a recast Luke? He's too up George Lucas's butt and stuff. Don't you think?
I just don't think
I would
you
not
can
describe him like that. I would say perhaps reverent, but
extremely reverent.
It's the same thing. Look it up in the dictionary.
It does not say see also up his butt, but anyway, continue.
But I mean, I'm taking them on face value when they said that this whole Filoni Favreau verse was going to end with a theatrical movie, or at least culminate in a theatrical movie. I'm taking them at face value that that's still on the table. So it has to be a big enough story. And I don't think that you can get to a big enough story with Ahsoka and, Mandalorian.
I will say this. If they learned any lesson from Endgame, okay, they got to have a plan for after that movie. And right now they're doing okay with what they're doing. But if you tie everything up in a neat package, you got to have something to do after that. And if they don't have a plan to come out of that, it's going to be the same thing that the Marvel Universe is suffering right now.
Well, you know what's crazy to me? They have not officially said that we're even getting a season 4 of Mando. And they irised out on Mando and
they
Baby Yoda.
totally did. And because Barry, when you just said season 4, I was thinking, did he see something I didn't? Because the next place we see him could be in a movie.
Yeah, they haven't announced it. I've just been assuming based on,
Also, plans have to be pretty disrupted there. Anyways, I've read things, people talking about a second season of Boba Fett, which like that could be a thing, and
that feels a lot less likely to me. But
I kind of agree.
I don't know.
It's funny that Boba Fett doesn't actually have to be about Boba Fett. So as we saw, so it's really just Boba Fett adjacent.
I want to see Boba Fett ride it like a bantha one more time.
I know. I want to see more of the Power Ranger scooters. That's all.
Well, maybe they'll go faster this time.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do we know anything for certain other than another season of Andor?
Yeah, Skeleton Crew. Which is the next thing we're going to see.
And that's in the same time frame, right?
Yep.
I'm curious they got to tie it into something.
I think
we need a chart to sometime. Dave, you like charts. Let's have a chart that's
Barry likes charts.
Dave, you love.
I like spreadsheets.
And the funny thing is, he probably has a chart already.
Okay. Anyways, I want to see realized Star Wars things, so series or whatever, versus announced. Okay, and I bet they're coming up. I bet it's coming up on even. I bet they may have not made as much Star Wars as they've made. When you consider all the things that have been announced, put it this way, that we've seen logos for that will never happen.
Did you see last week Gareth Edwards was out finally defending himself a little bit about Rogue One?
That's happened a couple times now.
No, but he actually went on record now saying, I wasn't replaced. I was there. When they shot the Darth Vader scenes, I was there directing them. He is standing up for himself a little bit now because it's been so much has been said about how he, was replaced and he was just sidelined. And...
Yes, now holding a mop is defined as directing. No,
I don't think so. I think he just feels more comfortable talking about it now.
Yeah. So.
Well, we'll see. Marvel and Star Wars. Well, I don't think Star Wars is in as much a mess as Marvel is. Marvel's got problems.
Again, I said, if you wrap things up too neatly, you don't leave yourself anywhere to go. And if they
have the shows, but the shows have sucked. I mean,
no. But what I'm saying is if the Filoniverse, and I don't think the shows have all sucked. I really don't. I think there's a couple that have not been good, but I think it's at least 50-50. It should be better than that.
Well, but the movies haven't been great either. If it was just the shows that weren't good,
I know that. Yeah,
I know.
So
I mean, we're a week and a half away from the Marvels coming out. Nobody's talking about it.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I'm hoping it's good. Maybe it's fun. I don't know.
I'm going to be away when it comes out, but I'll have to try to find time when I get back to
hope
see
it's
it.
Good.
Yeah, I want to see. I mean, it's going to probably have a crappy opening weekend.
I would say, I think the Marvel things that we've been critical of, the Marvel series that we've been critical of, I don't think they've been as received as poorly as maybe we might have. I mean, again, both Moon Knight and Loki are higher rated on both rating services than I think. Well,
I'm not even talking about Moon Knight. Moon Knight was fine for what it was, but
Moon
Secret
Knight,
Invasion,
WandaVision, Loki, She-Hulk actually I think is good.
I like She-Hulk.
There's a
Secret
number of them
Invasion
that
was
good.
a disaster.
What's the worst one? You think?
Secret Invasion was an utter total disaster.
That and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier were.
Also agree with that. But you know what? There's people that like that. I talk to people all the time that think it's the best one.
What?
I've had seriously. I've talked to 4 people that thought that was the best one.
What's the worst one? We should rank the
Secret
shows.
Invasion. It's no question. Secret Invasion. That is just
Barry. What's the second worst one? Loki.
Todd
hates me.
My thing with Loki is I'm having a very hard time following it, but it looks cool.
It does.
Visually, it reminds me a lot of Legion in that way.
Okay, I was just going to go there, Barry. I was just going to say if you just embrace the Legion model and just let this thing kind of flow over you, and you deal with it in the moment and not try to overthink everything, it works. And I'm liking it, and I think it's.
But I want it to be better than that.
Yeah, but better, or you
It's
want
a
it to
little
be something
smug.
else that you.
No, I want it. I like the character of Loki, and I want it to be more cohesive.
Yeah.
He is the god of mischief and chaos. It's like how orderly is this supposed to be?
Well, right.
It's
He
not
is
that
the
it's
god of
orderly,
mischief and chaos. The story should be something that you can follow while he's being mischievous, not you going, "What the hell is going on?"
Yeah.
I don't understand what the hell I'm watching.
I feel like it's just a little needs a smack in the face.
Okay. I am liking it. I like the other season better than you did, or more on par with everyone else in the universe.
I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier is probably the worst of all of them, with Secret Invasion right next to it. They're like neck and neck.
Secret Invasion was, I think, worse, but Falcon and Winter Soldier had so much more potential.
I will agree with you on that, Dave. I think
that's
Secret
why it
Invasion
was a disappointment.
has nothing redeeming for it whatsoever. I think it's every single decision they've made, and that was a bad choice. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier just squandered everything they had. So,
and what is there? So there's Loki and Winter Soldier and Secret Invasion, WandaVision, Hawkeye,
Moon Knight.
Is that it?
I think we're
She-Hulk.
missing something. She-Hulk.
Ms. Marvel.
She-Hulk.
Ms. Marvel was actually
Ms.
pretty good.
Marvel. I like Ms. Marvel. What do you guys all think is the best one?
I think I liked Hawkeye and WandaVision the best.
I liked Hawkeye the best.
I probably like, and that's ironic in that you really didn't like it you didn't like it for the first 3 episodes.
Me?
Yeah, you didn't. Well, there's audio evidence. There's audio evidence of this. It's slow. It's not doing anything. They're not going anywhere with it.
It was a little slow. It picked up, though.
Yes, it did. It did.
Every single one they've made is started off slow.
I agree with that entirely.
But you know which one won't be slow? The one that they're making 18 episodes of. That'll be great.
There won't be 18 episodes, I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, we're talking about Daredevil Born Again, in case anybody doesn't
I don't think we're going to
know.
get it in... I don't think we're going to get 18 episodes. I think it may have an 18-episode run. I don't think we're going to get them in a shot. I hope it's not an 18-episode arc.
Wikipedia currently has its status as filming on hiatus, which makes sense because there's a
everything
writer's
is.
strike
Everything
and an actor's strike. But
yeah.
So according to Wikipedia, Echo, Agatha Darkhold Diaries, and Ironheart are all in post-production. So all 3 of those shows have been filmed.
What was the third one?
Ironheart.
Ironheart, yeah. Okay.
Which I forget it even exists all the time.
Yeah, I do too. And I like the character. Or at least one version of the character.
Have either of you
gotta
gone
say,
back
you know
and
what?
rewatched that movie?
For me, as much as I want to say Moon Knight, it's Hawkeye. It's Hawkeye that is the best one. So,
it's the most cohesive, probably because
they did a great
didn't
job
need to go
of
anywhere.
Taking a existing character, bringing in a new character, figuring out a way of tying them together, and then drawing in the other stuff from the universe. I think it's good.
Have either of you gone back and rewatched? She was in the second Black Panther movie, right? Ironheart.
Yes. Yeah.
I haven't rewatched that movie since I saw it in the theater.
I'm not sure I want to, but I will at some point. Again, I tell you, it's as written in the comics. It's a great character. Dave, you should comment on that. But I hope
I did it to myself.
Okay, thank you. I hope they achieve some of that potential, but they did not in that movie.
Well, and that's why I bring it up. It's just that it's a totally forgettable character unless you go back and really rewatch that movie. To have an entire TV series about a character that was almost like a throwaway in a movie that did not recapture the magic of the first Black Panther.
This is basically a young Tony Stark in a completely other setting who's just she's a genius and she's doing all stuff, but she's also emulating Tony Stark. And and but also you've got the kind of Spider-Man thing where she's just really not ready for what this thing that she's able to, this power that she's able to unleash can be really, really good. They just need to do it right, and I think that like I said,
But are they doing all this because in their head they're like, well, at some point we're going to put out the Avengers, and it's going to be Kate Bishop and Ironheart and Yelena Belova and blah blah blah. And guess what?
Because at some
that's
point,
not going to cut it.
Yeah, but it may not cut it for us.
But
we're not necessarily the audience for this. Okay, so this is going to be that. There are people who are based. I mean, as this thing evolves, unless they go to a reboot, which a lot of people talk about, which I kind of hope they don't do. They need to weave in new characters and move forward. And people will attach themselves to these new characters, and they will get excited about them, and those people won't be us. And
we were the audience for like the first 15 to 20 movies, and
yeah. And I'm saying that's not sustainable because.
But if you ask a 16-year-old kid,
and they need to keep this thing going, and that's why.
But no one's going to be like. I think even the kids like
keep casting 45-year-old actors and expect that you're going to run them for 15 years. Okay.
I don't know what they do. I'd say just put it on the shelf for a while.
I'm telling you, you've got they've got enough young characters that they just need somebody to be a breakout, and then they can work with and maybe you build this next group around Spider-Man, who is still who is going to be like the 30-something when the rest of these kids are in their 20s.
I'd be fine with. I thought Kate Bishop did a great job.
I think
she's the only one who sort of stuck out. I tell you,
I would
Black Widow too.
I would love to see a Hawkeye and Black Widow series with her and Yelena Belova. I think that would be a blast.
That'd be good.
Except can Jeremy Renner do it after his accident? I don't know.
No, but I'm saying he's
no. With
her,
Haley
with
Steinfeld.
Oh, you're saying with Kate Bishop? Okay, I'm sorry.
They were in the show together. I would totally like to see
in
that.
His barn, and you got a couple scenes where they call him up, and he just puts a package in UPS. Okay, he's just building arrows for her at this point.
I don't know why they haven't done that. That was fun in that series,
and it would be awesome. I mean, she's what's her name? Florence Pugh is doing other things, but that's just a natural. The scenes they had together were just great. I think that would be terrific. And
that'd be the only series I actually would rewatch. I think.
Yeah. I'm going to at some point. In fact, that might be a good Christmas rewatch because that's when it's set. And but yeah, no, I think like I said, I think there's potential to go with some of the newer characters, but they got to develop them well. We'll see what they do with the Marvels. I think
Dave, you're only one episode into Loki season 2, right? So
2. I just watched another one. I was putting my thing together.
Okay. I know we haven't really talked about it much, but
we just did. Todd likes it. You don't love it.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
Okay.
You saw the 3rd episode, Barry?
Yes.
I only saw the 2nd one, and I love the way some of these things are short. This thing is 51 minutes with 22 minutes of stuff happening.
Yeah.
The third one is visually amazing. There's so much going on, and I love the time periods and all that, and I felt like some stuff at least happened.
Yeah. You know what the in joke would? Do you know what the in joke with Timely is with Victor Timely?
I do not.
Okay, the original Marvel was Timely Comics.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it was originally the original name for Marvel Comics was Timely Comics. So, and then they so it's kind of
every time he was on screen, I wanted to smack my TV. So
yeah. So
all right,
they got to fix that.
So while we're on the topic of TV shows,
okay,
did either of you guys watch the first 2 seasons of Upload? Because that's back now for season 3.
I liked the first season. I watched 1 episode of the 2nd season, and then I just never went back to it for some reason.
3 or 4 into the 2nd season. It's on my finish it list.
Okay.
I didn't realize the 3rd season came back.
Yeah, the first 2 episodes dropped last week, so it's out.
I don't know why I didn't finish the second
Then
season.
they're going to release one episode a week after
It just
this.
wasn't as good.
It wasn't like the first one.
It wasn't like the first one. The first
Definitely
one
not. Definitely
just
not.
clicked really well.
But a couple of other things that are coming back.
I was just going to say, there's a few other things that I was going to ask you about, but go ahead, Barry.
So, Invincible, Season 2, November 3rd.
Yep.
For All Mankind, Season 4, November 10th. And Monarch is a series on Apple TV starting November 17th, which is set in the Godzilla King Kong universe.
Yep.
When's that coming out?
November 17th. There may be more. Those are the ones that I noted down dates for.
The Godzilla King Kong universe. Are we talking about the most recent
Yes.
filming? Because those movies don't really follow continuity. I mean, there's not. There's no more than 3 or 4 movies that are linked together.
But the
There's
one
about
thing
12
that links
there's
all
about
of them,
12 reboots in the Godzilla series.
the one thing that links the last 3 or 4 of them together is this company Monarch, which was the
so
company
That's what it is. Okay,
that was sort of the company that was like, I guess, involved
why
with
do we
the
not know anything
with the
about
monsters.
that?
There's a trailer out for it.
Okay,
Check out the trailer for
interesting.
Monarch. It looks interesting. I'm actually kind of getting excited about it.
that's cool. That's cool. Did you guys heard anything about Bodies?
I
No.
saw a little clip on it. I don't know what's really
Supposedly
going
it's
on
good.
there.
Netflix. So I'm going to check that out. Generation V.
Haven't
I haven't
watched that
started
yet.
that.
Okay, that's also on my list. I'm just about to finish up Lioness, which I think is good.
Yeah, I like Linus.
I didn't finish it, but
I watched one episode so far and haven't gone back to it.
Yeah,
No,
no,
I've finished
think
it.
it's
I
good.
finished it a
You know,
while
it's-
ago.
It is in that kind of
Jack Ryan.
military
better.
fiction genre
Yeah.
where they get the guns right and the gear right and all that kind of stuff, but then they squeeze in a little too much like family drama and stuff like that. But still, it's but it doesn't go into like Homeland territory where it's just silly, and or bad Homeland territory where it's silly. But I'm liking it, and I think everybody in it's interesting, and it's well made. It's definitely well made.
Yeah.
So
Bosch came back too. Todd, I don't know if you ever watched any of the Bosches.
I knocked off the first 2 seasons, and I'm gonna get back into it, and I don't know
the
why I
second
didn't go
Freebie
back.
season came out. I haven't watched it yet though.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't follow because I really like him and I really like the
Yeah.
show, but I didn't get back into it. But I will. Did you finish Jack Ryan?
Yeah, not great.
Yeah, I know. It was
Not great at all.
it.
Oh my god! Then that freaking what's his face? It's so horrible.
Which one? Michael Pena is just it's
Michael Pena in the Ant-Man films is awesome.
it's great, but he again this
He
is
not that
this
character.
is a core character from the Tom Clancy universe who is not this dude. Okay,
And at one point they're like, this is probably the most dangerous man in the world. Like, dude, couldn't you at least drop 20 pounds if they're saying that about you? You're you're 5'6",
on the basis of like being gross
40 pounds overweight,
he's like,
and you're the most dangerous man in the world.
Yeah. It's like
It's just not.
Well,
just
and I haven't seen.
There's so many
there's
better
a movie out
choices.
now where he plays an astronaut, which I haven't seen either. But I'm like, it just doesn't. He doesn't. I don't see him as an astronaut.
That's a true story. But he was in The Martian and an astronaut, and he was fine in that.
Yeah.
I guess, but
one of the
maybe he was more of a
taglines-
supporting character there.
One of the descriptors is like faith in family. I'm like, I don't need to see any of that bullshit.
I get, like I said, that show started out weak and got weaker. I kind of feel like, and it's kind of like the cartoon version of Jack Ryan.
It's just he's just so there are 10 other guys that you could have been a better Chavez.
The interesting thing is so again, the guy, and I forget what his name is, the guy that's in everything, the guy that's also in Lioness,
Mark Mike Kelly, or
Yes,
I don't know if
yes,
that's his real
exactly.
name. Is that his real name?
Yes, but it doesn't
He
really
always
matter
plays a
what
guy named
part
Mike.
He is the same dude in every single thing he's in.
Yeah.
Okay, from I think the first place that you really saw him was in the Kevin Spacey Washington series,
I can't
House of
remember.
Cards.
I know.
House of Cards.
House of Cards. He was great in that. He's
But this is the guy that he is, and he just plays that part so well. That character, I think, would be a really interesting character to do a series about.
He's the best thing in the series.
And he's just this grizzled, kind of hardened CIA guy that just like really tried to quit.
And that the other dude isn't freaking Admiral. What's his name either?
No, he's not. No, not even
That's not him.
slightly. James Earl Jones
great.
was perfect in Hunt for Red October. He was perfect. But it's that kind of dude, and not this guy who's you just, again, these were just like not good versions of these characters. So
no. Let's see.
Anything else, guy, that you're watching that you recommend, or
I don't even know what I'm watching sometimes.
Survivor
It's like
season
I don't
45 has
remember.
been amazing.
What?
Survivor season 45.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll put this up against Survivor season 45. I am now caught up on Invasion. I just don't know why this exists. I mean, they spent a crap load of money. They appear to have spent a crap load of money in this thing. You know, the aliens are kind of cool. It really is kind of a War of the Worlds kind of story. Which
I'm in season 2. I have not caught all the way up.
You made it
but
to
I'm in
season 2?
I made it into season 2. I'm maybe 2 or 3 episodes into season 2.
Okay, so I think, yeah.
I'm watching it begrudgingly. I don't know
No,
why
I'm watching Billions. That's what I'm
Some of
watching.
the
I've been
characters
watching
are
Billions
compelling.
also.
Yeah, some of the characters are compelling. I really like the guy from the soldier, the guy who was in John Wick 4. He's great. He was the guy with the dog from John Wick 4.
Yeah.
Is in this, is one of the main characters, and he's probably my favorite character in this. But boy, every
time the wife, the mother with the
woman
kids is on screen.
It's like
Yeah.
I just, oh god, it's just so irritating, and it's anyways, but they're spending a lot of money on it, so that show is slow. There's no question. So
I hope that it ends at the end of this season. It does not need to come back for more.
God, I hope there's some payoff on this. I really do. It is one of those shows that I'm watching.
It's going to be
and
like the X-Files.
I'm really not sure why. So
it's the X-Files. Yeah. No payoff.
No.
So next week we'll have a show. We're going to have a good, much talked about what's in the box, Todd and I.
Yes.
Controversial, much talked about, and we'll give you our opinions. Talk about that. And then we're Rhode Island Comic Con. And hopefully...
maybe we'll do a little guest rundown and talk about maybe we'll do the
who we want to smell.
I wasn't going there.
Autograph... What was it? Autograph... we called it something.
No,
we'll have to look that up.
It was. Oh God, what was it? Yes,
it was look at. Didn't care.
It was autograph, smell, pass, or something.
Yeah, but I think it's
autograph, smell, pass.
It really is look at who I want to see.
That's the smell.
See, smell, and yeah. So.
And
we talked about this last year, and we called it something, and I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
I am potentially funding an opportunity for Todd to smell somebody really good.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So
since I won't be there, Todd's going to be my virtual sniffer.
That's right. Barry, just stop now.
I'll go with you.
And it's Anson Mount. I want him to go sniff Anson Mount for me.
I was willing to do it until you said that.
I totally forgot about that. We got to run down that guest list.
That's what we're doing. It's the year that I can't go, the guest list is really outstanding. I mean, it's always a good guest list, but it feels like there's really good guest lists.
All right, next we're going to run down the guest list of what our impressions. We'll do a good what's in the box, and we'll figure something else out.
Yeah.
All right.
That'll be plenty. That'll be more for us than it is for you, but I'm curious.
Every episode is more for us than it is for the audience.
That's true, too. Gotta I know of one autograph I'm getting, but all right, we'll talk about that next week. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.